The members for Moreton, Wakefield and Griffith will cease interjecting. I call the member for Indi.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Special Minister for State, and it's about government advertising in rural and regional Australia. Minister, it's important that all people have access to government knowledge about services, but particularly in rural and regional Australia, recent programs about the launch of My Aged Care, the Small Business Boost Package, Green Army campaigns and the Job Active Information Campaign are not advertised in rural and regional Australia. Could you please give a commitment to the House to take action on this to ensure that all government programs are advertised, especially in rural and regional media?
The Special Minister of State.
Thanks, Mr Speaker, and I thank the member for Indi for her question and obviously her commitment to ensuring that the constituents in regional and rural Australia are well supplied with information about government programs. I should point out to the member for Indi that I have been approached by a number of members from across the political divide, the member for Wakefield being but one, the member for Mallee being another, who also realises how important it is that no matter where we live in Australia, we have access to appropriate government information. And of course today we're hearing about the China Free Trade Agreement, and it's essential that that communication reaches every Australian so they understand just what is available to them in recognising these opportunities. Now, I say to the member for Indi, Mr Speaker, that there are rules that all sides of politics should abide when they are looking at these issues, and the media schedules are developed with expert advice. The guidelines on information and advertising campaigns that have been agreed to by successive governments ensure that it's not pork barrelling, it's not just advertising for advertising's sake, and I'd point out at that point that this government, the coalition government in the last 2 years, our first 2 years of government, have spent about 30% less than the last 2 years of the Labor government. And of course some of that was against advice by officials. Coming directly to the member for Indi's question, I'm advised that important issues or important programs like Green Army, which is obviously active in the member's electorate, is now being advertised through the Benalla Ensign, the Myrtleford Times, the Alpine Observer and the Wangaratta Chronicle. And I would say to her, as I'd say to all honourable members, the government's commitment is to ensure that we have the proper guidelines followed, that in doing so that we get the advertising where it's needed. So if you have advice of publications that you think should be considered, we will consider them within the advice that is provided and that is appropriate when deciding Commonwealth expenditure.